G'day. Today my overdue gap year is taking me back to the coast at Nha Trang, Vietnam's premier beach resort. Located in south-central Vietnam, Nha Trang is well connected by road, train and plane that makes it a popular beach resort stop. For me, it's about 4 hours down a winding mountain road from Dalat. This time I splurged and got a private car all to myself for about $50 Australian. It was a good choice. The road was pretty bumpy in parts, and I've not met a Vietnamese minivan that can claim to have good suspension.
When we rolled into town, my first impression was it reminded me a lot of the Gold Coast. You've got massive skyscrapers along a lovely sandy beach that stretches as far as the eye can see. There's a lot of shopping malls, one of them, funnily enough, is named the Gold Coast. And there's also some mountains behind the town as well, so it kind of does have that feel in terms of the geography. But spend 5 minutes and you realise, no, this ain't the Goldie at all. In addition to the fact it is Vietnam and there's, scooters zipping about everywhere, you've also got a lot of Russian and Korean tourists, which give this part of town a really different vibe to other places I've been to in Vietnam. So a lot of the shops and restaurants, are catering to this market. So there's, signage in Korean and Russian. I've even had people try and speak to me in Russian, which is kind of funny. Both Russians, which has never happened to me before, and also the local shopkeepers. And last time that happened to me was I was in northern China. So anyway, it's just a bit of a fun thing, and it just makes the place have a slightly different vibe to other parts of Vietnam.
Another thing Nha Trang has in common with the Gold Coast is a weird theme park, only this one's sitting on an island offshore. To get there, it's about a 15-minute cab ride from the centre of town. Then you need to take either a cable car or boat to reach it. I had a cable car included as part of my ticket, and it was a really great way to get there. You're gliding over the water, you've got a great view of the city skyline, you've got boats going underneath, and it was just a really nice way to arrive. VinWonders itself is a bit of everything. There's water slides, rides, shows. To be honest, I was expecting it to be a bit more on the shit side. But it was much better than I expected. Probably on par with Lotte World and Busan, but it's much, much larger. VinWonders covers an area of about 50 hectares and there's 6 main themed areas. Being a bit of a cheapskate who purchased the afternoon ticket, which lets you in after 4 PM, I had to skip the water park and focus on some of the rides. After being caught up in the parade, don't ask me what the theme was, I headed up to the top level to ride the giant Ferris wheel. On the way, I came across the King's Garden, which featured a large aviary, which was okay, and a zoo area that I really don't think should have housed such large animals. After queuing up and explaining a couple of times to Koreans and Russians that no, I'm not a Russian, it was time to ride the tallest Ferris wheel in the country. Getting there at sunset offered the best of both worlds, and the 20-minute ride was certainly worth it. After that, I checked out the water fountain show, which was more impressive than it sounds, and then I rode the Big Thunder Mountain roller coaster knockoff, which was also good fun. I skipped the Tartar show, whatever that is, to avoid having to queue for ages, but it looked pretty fun as well. I reckon you could easily spend most of the day here if you use the water park. So if you're a theme park kind of person, it's one of the better ones I've encountered in Asia. The next day, I decided to go to the other main attraction here in Nha Trang, the Po Nagar Cham Towers. These towers were built by the Cham civilization more than 1,000 years ago, and the Hindu temples are still in use today. Don't come here expecting it to be like Angkor Wat. This is a very small site and you probably need about 30 minutes to see all of it. But there are regular Cham cultural performances, and you can also get long robes if you're wearing shorts to go inside the temples. It's a calm, mostly quiet place when the performances are not running, and a complete contrast to the energy at the theme park. The towers themselves are not that far from the beach, so afterwards I took a wander along the river and then down the promenade for a bit. Up at this end of the beach you could see a temple offshore and some fishing boats heading out to sea. It made for a very easy afternoon walk, and once I reached the area where I was staying, I decided to reward myself with a mojito at a beach bar. While the bar itself was pretty cute, I have to say the mojito was below average. Oh well, you can't win them all. Of course, no beach trip is complete without something to eat. I spent a few days trying to find a decent bowl of pho to start my day. After a few fails, Pho Hang Phuc emerged as the winner. It's catering to tourists, but the pho here was the best I could find. With so many Korean travellers, there's also a large array of Korean restaurants. I tried out 2 Korean barbecue places. KBBQ is a great go-to as a celiac because you can generally ensure it's gluten-free just by cooking the raw meat and veggies and bringing your own soy sauce. First up was YookMong. I walked past here a few times and there was always a couple of groups of Korean people having a good time, so I decided to join them. The food was cheap, the service was fast, and I enjoyed being able to sit outside and grill away. The other place I went to was Nha Hang Veteran. This was a bit more upscale and reminded me a bit of being in Seoul or Busan. Service was excellent, but for some reason they added sugar syrup to the whiskey highball. The meat was very good, however, and expertly cooked by the very friendly and professional staff. One thing I've struggled to find here in Vietnam has been consistently good ice cream. The Henri Waffle and Gelato bar had really good flavours and very friendly service. Just be ready to remind them to keep the wafer out of your ice cream if you're gluten-free. Another place I liked was Thoi. This is an outpost of a Da Nang restaurant that has a Michelin-star. There are 2 branches here in Nha Trang, with a shuttle bus between them. It's that busy. I was lucky and never had to wait more than 10 minutes at lunchtime. I was a bit cheeky and decided to take a punt on the nem lui, a dish from Hue consisting of grilled lemongrass pork skewers that you assemble yourself into rice paper rolls. It was delicious.
So full disclaimer here, I didn't actually discuss with the staff at this restaurant my dietary requirements or whether they could accommodate a gluten-free diet. I have encountered this dish previously and generally it's been safe. However, every restaurant is different.
So, having spent the better part of the week here, I'm still a little cheesed off that the hotel pool was out of action, so I'm not mentioning them. But if you're looking for a beach resort town, then you'd be hard-pressed to find a better option than Nha Trang. You've got theme parks, ancient history, the lovely beach, and a decent food scene as well. And yes, it still does remind me a little bit of the Gold Coast when I look up at the skyline, but it's definitely its own place. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking around, and I'll catch you in the next video.